What's good, A1 family? A1 family, what it do? It's the show that's cooler and fly to A1 Forever Sports. Welcome back. It's Chris Tip Moore here. And first and foremost, before I get into this video, I just want to say thank you to all the calls, the texts, the Facebook messages, the Twitter messages, just social media period of people congratulating me on getting my bachelor's degree in science for sportscasting. So I'm very excited to continue to grow my channel here at A1 Forever, and also looking to for opportunities in the field, whether it's working with major companies, small companies. I'm just looking to network, get myself out there, and appear as many places as I can be and talk good old sports, especially if it's Atlanta sports. And speaking of Atlanta sports, let's talk about the old elephant in the room, should we? And that is for the first time in NBA lottery history, the Hawks was awarded the first overall pick. Now, of course, we know Atlanta had a 3% chance of winning this guy, but still was able to get it, in this particular year. Um, it is what it is. I would have definitely preferred it maybe in 2019 and 2020, somewhere in that area with Zion and Ant-Man was available. But hey, we're here now. I'm excited for the city. This is an exciting time for the city as we haven't had a number one pick, talking about the Atlanta Hawks, since the 1975 when we drafted David Thompson. All right, quick history lesson. Unfortunately, due to previous fines, complications with ownership, and the lack of funds, David Thompson signed with the Denver Nuggets, and because they had a better offer, and Thompson would go on to become a Hall of Famer. End of story. End of lesson. But back to the present day, the Atlanta Hawks have the number one smooth groove jam, guaranteed, hopefully, to set the record straight for the Atlanta Hawks and push them in the right direction. But unfortunately, to many, this is considered one of the worst drafts in recent memories, to say the least. But okay, whatever. It is what it is. We still have a job to do, and that is pick the best player available for the Atlanta Hawks. And for me, I believe the Atlanta Hawks definitely need a big man. We already know who is projected as the best big man in the draft, but the problem is too, Atlanta needs some wing help as well. So I can live with the starting center because I definitely believe that last year, if Lively was there for the Atlanta Hawks, I do believe we would have went there last year instead of picking up Kobe Buffkin, who I'm looking to see more things from. But that'll be in another video at another time. It's time for the Atlanta Hawks to realistically start thinking about life without center Clint Capella. And that is especially if you're going to have 0017 as a part of your future plans, as it's projected to. But we'll see what happens, man, because it's really hard for an Atlanta Hawks fan to really put a roster together or really project who's going to be here when you don't know what's going to happen in off-season talks. It's been reported that Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks will be meeting to have a discussion about the future, whether Trey will be an Atlanta Hawk, whether he'll be on the move. We're already seeing trade packages, and that's going to be going on all season long. So everybody get prepared, get your mind prepared. And you already know most of the time these deals are not going to be in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. In the past 5 years, just me even making the decision to take sports seriously and to make a career out of it. From when I see these trade packages, it always have the Atlanta Hawks getting fleeced. Media always wants to fleece the Atlanta Hawks for some strange reason. The Atlanta Hawks get awarded the number one draft pick in a year where there's possibly no clear cut number one. You have options, you have ideas, you have upside from many different players, but there's no clear cut number one. Like everyone knew Ant Man was number one, everyone knew Zion was number one, everyone knew Wimby was number one, for an example. But in this draft, not necessarily. And you had the combine who went on today as well. I'm going to get into that hopefully with a group of guys, and we're going to talk about the combine and just what the Atlanta Hawks should do. So look forward to that coming as well. I'm going to reach out to some other content creators from the Atlanta Hawks, and shout out to other content creators of the Atlanta Hawks, guys like Bryce Lewis, guys like Damon from We Hawk TV. Shout out to the bros. And but continuing on with this here story, we, regardless of what's the best option or who's the number one or not the number one, the Atlanta Hawks have options, and they need to pretty much figure out the best fit for this Hawks DNA that's being suggested by GM Landry Fields. So with that being said, we got to figure out who's going to be the best fit for the Atlanta Hawks. I do believe that a center is in play, and again, you're going to have to move on from Clint Capella. Um, you may can get a nice little deal for him. He's on an aspiring contract, I believe, making about 22 mil this season. So you possibly could move on from him, especially if you go ahead and make this investment, because you're not going to make an investment in a guy who you have to send down for development. Whoever you pick at number one has to be ready to play now. And again, fit this Hawks DNA that Landry Fields is suggesting that we have. And so I'm assuming that we're going to keep Trae Young and DJ. I just want to talk about just two guys that I think would be great for the Atlanta Hawks. I enjoy. Um, See, it's hard because it's hard for me to say great, because it's not necessarily a great fit in this draft right now. It's early, combine still has to go by, a few more workouts, interview process. It's a lot of things that goes into it in order to think if it's a right fit. But just off of play, it's two guys, two centers in particular that I think would be good for the Atlanta Hawks. And one of the best prospects from this right here would definitely be what's my man's name? Oh yeah, Mr. Alex Scar. Mr. Alex Scar, man. Scar. Some people say Scar, some people say Sar. I do think it's Sar. And he is 7'1", and at the combine he could weigh in at 224, because previously he was weighed in at 216, 217 before the combine. But either way, he has a 7'5" wingspan, and he didn't get a lot of minutes back then. He was only about 17.9 per game when he was playing for France or whatnot, and that's not on him. That wasn't on him. I believe they playing like 10-minute quarters over there. You only can do what you can do in the time that you're allowed. But 71% from the foul line, or it's free, as I like to call it, I like that, because we're going to have a big man that can shoot free throws. You already know what we've been going through with Clint Capella as far as shooting free throws. Oyeko Okonwu's decent at shooting free throws. And I believe he's better than Bruno Fernando, who's pretty decent shooting free throws as well. But you need your big man to be able to knock down some free throws. 51% from the field. You can build off of that. 1.5 blocks sounds like a rim protector. I need that. At the combine, he had a 37-inch vert, and that just speaks for itself. You did. And just for perspective, uh, Donovan Clingan was 29 inches. Zach Edney was 31.5 inches. So the man, talking about Sar, can jump out the gym. He plays with good intensity from some of the film that I've seen. I was watching some film on him yesterday and today, and also on the other big man that I plan on speaking on. And he's a big that can play. He's going in the direction that the NBA is headed. He moves his feet well. He's got good bounce, even though he doesn't have to go too far. He has a pretty good bounce. He can defend the 5, the 4, and on the wing as well. He has some good tape in his playoff run, to where he was guarding the guards and on the wing and actually locking up pretty good. I'm saying it was pretty decent. I liked it. Now, of course, NBA players, they're bigger, stronger, a little bit more crafty, but I like what I see, in the potential. Sar, he was also being used as a help defender, as his team had trouble, allowing guards into the lane. So he would often have to come over and close out as quickly as he possibly can and protect the rim. So he's used to help defense. I like that. He can cover ground. He can play up on the pick and roll. So, guys would be trying to come off the screen and pull up. He can get right there and kind of put a hand up. I need that as well. As far as like pick and roll, he's good on that, and he can get through screens. I've heard the Evan Mobley comparisons, and I think he's a little bit more. I think he's more explosive, not just a little bit more. I think he is more explosive, and has more upside than Evan Mobley possibly going forward. Of course, it all depends on fit, scheme, blah blah blah. But Sarr, he can run the floor. So then transition that can give Atlanta another player who can lead the transition. So that's just nothing to think about as well. Now, if I had to have any concerns about fella, I would say the 3-point shooting, 28% from three, but he has the ability to hit them. He's working on it, but I know he's a big man, so I gotta take that in consideration as well. But he just doesn't look comfortable shooting the three to me. He really doesn't. And me personally, I don't like centers shooting threes, but I know it's a part of the game. I know I can't be the get off my lawn type of a guy and not move with the times. So you have to be equipped with it in the NBA. That's just something that you just gotta do. And but yeah, I don't like centers shooting threes. I just, especially if they have size. My perfect example, Brook Lopez. Absolutely. Oh God, I cannot stand Brook Lopez shooting threes. But he's not on my team. He's not my center, but just on the principle of it, I just feel like he's too big and he should be more dominant in the paint. But maybe he's just not, and it is what it is. Moving away from Brook and going back to the topic at hand, obviously, his size, 7'1", 224, about 10 to 15 pounds heavier than Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama, but he's lighter than Kevin Durant. So size is definitely something that he's going to have to put on, but he's going to have to be careful because adding too much size or strength can hinder your previous good traits and abilities. So that's just something you got to think about as well. But against, let's just say, against a guy like Jokic or against a guy named Embiid, or it's just somebody that can back him down and try to put him under the basket, or draw fouls on him, you just got to be mindful of that. It's going to be some guys that's going to try to bully him and kind of like get him out of his mental and get him to make costly mistakes because he is still going to be a rookie. So you got to look out for that as well. So the size thing, and this also goes into size, talking about defensive rebounding. Defensive rebounding can be improved because you definitely don't want to give teams second chance points and end up in the guillotine. So pairing Scar with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray could give Atlanta a prolific two-man game. Sar is an elite finisher in the pick and roll. So he's a good prospect, and I believe he could work well for Atlanta, all depending on what they want to do from an offensive scheme purpose. Now, the next gentleman that I would like to discuss real quick before I get up out of here is Donovan Clingan. He's another prospect for 11. Now, this gentleman is totally different from Scar. They're two totally different players. I think Scar is the most athletic, and I think this guy right here is more like a fundamental type of a big. Clingan is 7'2", 282 with a 7'7" wingspan. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I love the size 7'2", 282. That lets me know he's not gonna be pushed around like that. That lets me know he's gonna be able to fight off against other centers like a Jokic, like a Embiid, and even like a Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, the bigs. Because honestly, you have to have guys who can compete with those guys. Clint Capella has been serviceable, but let's just be honest, he's still been used. Onyeka Okongwu, I feel like he plays all those names a little bit better. Maybe it's because he's a little younger and gives a little bit more effort, possibly. But those are guys that you have to account for. And I want me a big man. I want me somebody who's not going to get pushed around. But let me tell you about this guy though, because it is some concerns. Clingan, he's only played about 22 minutes per game. I know he had a foot injury coming into the season as well too. So there's some concerns about them feet. I'm gonna get back to them feet in a minute too. So, but conditioning is definitely one of my concerns, and I will say that now. But 13 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. Yeah, I will take that. Yeah, I will. 63% from the field. Yes, I said 63% from the field. 25% from three. So 3% less than SAR, but and 58% from free throw. Like I said, more like a fundamental big. He uses skill outside of dunks. Like he can still dunk. I've seen him catch lobs. I've seen him do the pick and roll and catch lobs, similar like how Trey and Clint has done. So he does have that capability. But he doesn't mind being fundamental, using the backboard, using the rim to shield out the other bigs, so he can be able to get the layup. He's a good defender with closeout ability. He challenges the rim. Again, like I said, he could be a lob threat, not like Sar, but he can still definitely be a lob threat because I mean 29-inch vert. It's not Sar and it's not Edie and it's not Ware, but at the same time he can still get up and he can still go get it. Hit from a physical presence, I like him because he's similar to Rudy Gobert, but he's a bigger guy. He's about 40 pounds heavier than Rudy Gobert, but he has bigger hands and he's a little bit faster end to end than Rudy Gobert. So definitely he can like again he can finish around the rim. He needs some work and on making that consistent, more consistent, and that's him and Sar. But I kind of feel like he needs to improve on it just a little bit better. He's great in the pick and roll defense, especially if he has a good point of attack defender, and he has a good eye. And I see shades of Vlade Divac when it comes to his passing, passing only. Because Vlade, if you look at Vlade Divac, or if you remember Vlade Divac, and if you don't remember Vlade, go back and look at on YouTube, and they have plenty of his highlights and everything, just how he was as a player, as a passer, and just overall just leader of the Sacramento Kings, and he also played for the Lakers and the Charlotte Hornets as well. But concerns real quick about my man's his feet and versatility on defense. Teams are going to try to bring him out the painted area and try to get blow-bys by him because of his feet. His feet and versatility. His feet. I'm not trying to be funny, but if this was football and I can compare it to a player that guys may know, it would be Caleb McGarry as far as like his feet go, his footwork goes sometimes. He can move well for 7'2", 282, okay? He's 7'2", 282. Let's put that in perspective when we're talking about his feet too. But he still is going to need to work on it and not be in that swimmer's position, or that I'm going to get you position to where like he's reaching out, look like he's trying to stop everybody. He's kind of behind and he ends up drawing fouls. He's trying to catch up and he's drawing fouls. We already know, again, guys in the NBA are more crafty. And they're crafty in the NBA, so they're going to be looking for that and looking for the hunt for those fouls to get you in foul trouble, to get you up out of there. And going back to what I was saying about he needs to be more consistent around the rim. That's what it is. And he needs to be more consistent around the rim, but he has trouble with physicality. It's some players that has been physical with him, and he's often locked up after trying to finish plays. Of course, again, biggest concern maybe might be free throw shooting because he needs to improve that. Again, the Hawks have already dealt with Clint Capella, the miss one, make one, sometimes make both. Even though Capella did get a little bit better this previous previous season in free throw shooting, I believe. Don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but from just the games that I watched, it looked like he was knocking down just a couple more free throws. But overall, in his tender in Atlanta, we got to remember that Clint, he'll miss one, make one. He may make two. He may miss two. He may miss four. I'm saying, all in a row. Either way it goes, inconsistency. And since we've already had that, you may not necessarily want to go back to that era when you're possibly probably getting rid of Capella anyway. Now, I will admit, Clegan, he can be a defensive anchor, rim protector. He's great in the pick and roll defense. Strictly only guarding the fives, unlike Sar. I think Sar can, like, again, the five, the four, and on the perimeter wing. I think Sar is good. This guy right here, Clegan, he's strictly guarding your center. He's strictly guarding your five. You do not want this guy because of his feet. Even though he has good feet, like I said, he has size, but you don't necessarily want him on the wing on an island with a guard, especially a crafty guard. Like you don't, hypothetically speaking, you don't want Clegan left on the island with Kyrie, for example. You feel me? So he's working on his 3-point shot as well to up his value, and I think he needs to do that. That's going to help him in the long run as well, because again, that's where it's going. That's where the game is going. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Um, he can be elite in the pick and roll with an elite point guard, Trae Young, but whatever. Health and condition concerns is also right up there with free throws. Health and condition, like I said, coming into the season, he had a foot injury that he was dealing with that kind of dialed back his play and had him on minute restriction. So it's things that you have to worry about, and Atlanta has to do their due diligence on this draft. Regardless, though, I believe both men, depending on what offensive scheme, depending on what direction Atlanta's looking to go, both guys can work well with Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, who's ever going to be the point guard here. Hopefully, the Atlanta Hawks can make the right decisions. Hopefully, this front office can take care of business. And if anything else, Atlanta Hawks fans, we got to understand this is the perfect opportunity for the front office to show us Atlanta Hawks fans. I'm about to say Atlanta Falcons, but Atlanta Hawks fans, that you can do this job, that you are capable. You know, the Atlanta Hawks win the draft lottery, first time having a number one pick since 1975. This is an opportunity to rewrite some things for the future, to set us on the right course. So I don't know how much faith you guys have in the front office, but Chris Tipmore, A1 Forever Sports, the show that's cool and fly too. We have the amount of faith that we have in the front office to get this right. Any number you can think of that comes before one, any number. So if you're saying 0, -1, -2, whatever it is, that's just how I personally feel. I do not trust the front office to get this right. I'm sorry, I do not. I'm optimistic, and I always will be, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the logo, and I am a fan and a professional at the same time. But I do not, just from the track record. If I'm just going off a track record, it's not about liking anybody or anything. This is not personal. I just do not have any faith, man, in this front office. But the decisions to some people out there is possibly easy. I still think they need to do their full due diligence on Sar, on Clegan, on Clegan. I'm probably butchering his name, by the way, and I'm gonna straighten that out too. But either way it go, those two big men, though, ladies and gentlemen, perfect for the Atlanta Hawks to a degree, because there is no perfect prospect in this draft to me. But go moving forward, we will see what the Atlanta Hawks will want to do. I like Sar. I like Donovan Clangan. So we'll see what they do, man. Until next time, y'all, peace and blessings to you. Come on back to the show that's cooler and fly too, which is A1 Forever Sports, where we be generational because it's always time to be. And we don't settle for less, because you can always have more with the vision. And let's hope that the Atlanta Hawks have the right vision for the organization moving forward. So until next time, guys, peace and blessings to you. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I will holler. You did.